too many tourists. That's the reality of modern-day tourism in Japan right now. With the Japanese yen falling nearly 30% to the US dollar over the past 5 years, Japan has become somewhat cheap for foreign visitors and a dream for budget-conscious travelers. Since the country reopened in 2022, it's been flooded with travelers. In 2023 alone, Japan welcomed over 25 million tourists. That's a staggering rebound from the pandemic shutdowns. But last year, Japan had over 36 million tourists. That's a whopping 47% increase from the year before. Now, this travel boom has helped Japan's economy survive a critical time because behind the beauty, behind the crowds, there is another story unfolding. Japan is in trouble. Its economy has barely grown in decades. The population is aging rapidly. Almost 1/3 of Japanese citizens are over the age of 65, and the workforce is shrinking fast. Wages are stagnant and inflation is climbing. Earlier this year, the Japanese yen fell to a 34-year low against the US dollar. That means imports like oil or food are getting pricier for its people. Wages aren't rising fast enough to keep up, so everyday Japanese families are feeling the squeeze. And amid this economic anxiety, tourism has sort of become somewhat of a lifeline. In 2023, tourists injected over $36 billion into the economy. And for struggling small towns and cities, tourism isn't just helpful, it's become essential. But there's a catch here. I mean, tourism could be helping to save Japan's economy, but at the same time, it's strangling Japan's cultural soul. So tourism wasn't always this big. A decade ago, Japan was under the radar compared to places like Paris or Bangkok. But in 2013, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe launched a nationwide strategy to double tourism by 2020. It was seen as a way to revitalize Japan's sluggish economy, and it worked. By 2019, Japan had become one of the most visited countries in the world. That year, nearly 32 million people visited Japan, quadruple the number from 2011. The appeal was obvious. It was safe, clean, futuristic, yet deeply traditional. Trains ran on time, sushi was better than you've ever had, and Instagram and then TikTok drove a surge to new spots. Photos of Kyoto's golden temples, cherry blossoms, and Mount Fuji went viral, turning Japan into a travel bucket list staple. But that popularity came with a price. In places like Kyoto, the streets are so packed during cherry blossom season that locals have to leave home earlier just to commute to work. And locals in iconic areas reported feeling like they live in an amusement park, spectators in their own city. Take Mount Fuji, Japan's most iconic landmark. On a typical summer day, over 4,000 people attempt the summit. A trail meant for maybe half that. The result, trash on the trails, overcrowded rest stops, and dangerous climbing conditions. The situation got so bad that authorities announced a new 2,000 yen fee, which is about $13 for climbers, and a cap on daily visitors. In Nara, tourists love feeding the sacred deer, but not everyone uses the official crackers. And as a result, some deer have gotten sick or aggressive. Incidents of deer bites rose sharply in 2023, as did reports of tourists chasing or harassing them for TikTok videos. Let's take a quick break to thank today's sponsor, Microsoft Teams, who made this video possible. So a lot of people don't realize this, but Microsoft Teams is not just for big companies. You as an individual or a startup can be using Teams. I recently started using it with my team. I have a team for a production company I run, and it has been a game changer because it combines so many different things all in one place. We used to use so many different platforms and apps and try to sync them to each other, and it just became really messy. Microsoft Teams makes things so much easier because everything is so organized. You can do file sharing, calendars, meetings, and even daily messaging. You can also get premium features completely for free. You can check the link here. It'll also be in my bio. And now back to the video. In Kamakura, a coastal town near Tokyo, local trains meant for students and workers are so full of tourists that residents have to wait for multiple trains to pass before boarding. Even basic infrastructure is straining. Neighborhoods near popular attractions report soaring trash collection costs, with residents footing the bill. Toilets overflow, parks are worn down, and local etiquette, like not talking loudly on trains, is being lost amid the crowd. So what's happening isn't just inconvenience, it's become a clash of volume versus values. In rural Japan, many towns are dying. With young people moving to cities and birth rates plummeting, whole communities are turning into ghost towns. I made an entire video about Japan's population crisis and how they're even shutting down schools. Make sure to subscribe and check it out on my channel. In places like Shirakawa-go, tourism helps preserve architecture, fund schools, and support jobs that would otherwise vanish. In Hokkaido, ski resorts that once faced bankruptcy now thrive thanks to waves of Australians and other tourists looking for powder snow. In Tottori, known for its sand dunes, tourism has brought attention and cash to a place once forgotten even by most Japanese. Tourism is also one of the few sectors that has actually grown since since the pandemic. The government knows how vital it is, and in a bold move, Japan's tourism agency launched a campaign offering free domestic airline tickets to international travelers who book long-haul trips to Japan. The idea here is simple: spread tourists out. So instead of flooding Kyoto or Tokyo, send them to Okinawa, Hokkaido, or other undervisited regions. The program randomly assigns travelers to lesser-known destinations, paying the cost of domestic airfare from a major hub. It's part of a larger strategy here: keep the benefits but reduce the burden. I actually made a video about over-tourism and digital nomads in Mexico and how it's putting a strain on the local economy. Make sure to check that out, and also make sure to subscribe to my channel so you don't miss the next video. And now back to the video. Japan's government is taking over-tourism seriously. Beyond free flights, new train lines are helping steer travelers to less crowded parts of the country. The idea is to expand the tourism map. Back to Kyoto, signs in multiple languages now remind tourists not to follow geishas or take unauthorized photos. In Osaka, large displays ask visitors to mind their noise levels and respect train etiquette. Using data from mobile phones and transport cards, the government is even tracking crowd densities in real time, offering suggestions through apps on where to go or where to avoid. The new mantra from Japan's tourism board is high value, low impact. Instead of chasing record-breaking tourist numbers, they actually want fewer, better behaved, and higher spending tourists who engage meaningfully with culture rather than trampling on it for a selfie. Over-tourism is not just a problem in Japan. In Venice, tourists are now being charged an entry fee and fined for sitting on historic steps. In Barcelona, anti-tourism graffiti is popping up on the walls. In Bali, spiritual leaders have had to beg visitors not to dance in front of sacred temples. The forces driving over-tourism, social media, low-cost travel, and the global middle-class expansion are not going away. In fact, by 2030, over 1.8 billion people are expected to travel internationally every year. That's according to the UN World Tourism Organization. And the paradox is clear: the more a place becomes loved, the more likely it is to be ruined by that love. Japan's experience is a case study and a warning that no country is immune. And if one of the most organized, polite, and logistically competent nations on Earth can get overwhelmed, imagine what over-tourism might do to less prepared destinations. Japan is now introducing new tiered pricing systems. So this is meant to ease the pressure from over-tourism by managing tourist crowds and bringing in extra money to maintain and preserve popular spots. Basically, a foreigner will pay more than a local at certain attractions like temples, shrines, and ski resorts. So at Hokkaido's Niseko ski resort, a tourist might pay around $42, while locals get in for $32. Other temples and heritage sites are also thinking about rolling out similar pricing. It's a way to help protect Japan's landmarks while still welcoming travelers, just with a bit more balance. But this is highly controversial, so let me know in the comments if you think this is a good idea. Tourism is one of the few bright spots in its economy, but if left unchecked, the very essence of what makes Japan magical could be lost. Cultural erosion is slow and often invisible. And the other concern here is that if Japan becomes known as an overcrowded place, well then what? Could these tourism numbers come crashing down because people don't want to go to a place that's so overcrowded? Striking the balance between economic revival and cultural preservation will define the next decade, and countries around the world should be watching closely. Let me know in the comments below, what do you think Japan and other countries need to do to tackle over-tourism to make sure that it's not hurting the local people? While you're at it, check out more of my videos, make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you next time at Uptin.